Who really is Sam Bankman-Fried, and who's he related to? The family ties sure get crazier and crazier with the more research I do. Let's get into it in this video. But first, if you would like and subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to provide you the most accurate and up-to-date information, not only to the FTX scandal, but just news in general, where the mainstream media is purely just disregarding or blatantly covering up stories. All right, let's dig into SBF's family tree. This is not going to be about any of his parents or his brother necessarily. This is going to be more on other family members that I don't feel like has had the proper amount of exposure. But just as a little background, Barbara Helen Fried is his mother. She runs 2 different super PACs for the Democratic Party. Also, she is a Stanford lawyer where Alan Joseph Bankman is as well. Here is his brother, Gabriel Bankman-Fried. He runs the Guarding Against Pandemics PAC. As you can see, they're currently lobbying for public investments to prevent the next pandemic, which they are claiming it's cost the U.S. $16 trillion. And so they are currently advocating for the Biden administration to allocate $30 billion in federal funding to commit to the future of pandemic outbreaks. This may just be me, but I believe this is an odd thing for a 20-something-year-old to be lobbying for and running a PAC on. Just like in my previous videos, things just didn't seem to add up. I believe this was so weird that I wanted to do some more digging into the family behind the Frieds. Barbara Helen Fried's sister, Linda Fried, she is currently the dean of the Mailman School of Public Health and Delmar Professor of Public Health at the Columbia University Medical Center. Listen to Dr. Fried on a podcast with The Atlantic discuss things that line up so nicely with Gabriel Bankman-Fried's PAC.
The U.S. has basically, since 1960, disinvested in its public health system. We do not put more dollars into it than we did in 1960. Public health system, our CDC, our state and local health departments. We just heard from Dr. Cohn, who's a state health commissioner. That is the bulwark of protecting Americans' health. The return on investment financially is at least 14-fold. The actions we have to take together to keep everybody healthy and to keep diseases like COVID from spreading.
Now listen to her here on Sirius XM in June of 2020, discussing the failures of the public health system and ultimately the federal government in their response to COVID. And they should have had even more government overreach than they already did, which obviously is a horrible thing if you like freedom and individual rights.
It takes an emergency to see what might have been in front of our eyes all the time, but it's in stress circumstances when systems can't perform that you see them.
How badly, in your opinion, has the government failed in its responsibility to respond to this terrible and global pandemic that we find ourselves in?
Well, some of the situation we are in, I think, is a consequence of leadership or lack thereof. And some of what we are experiencing is a consequence of decades of disinvestment in the capabilities we could have and should have. It includes the ability to, in early stages of a pandemic, find the people who have been exposed and track everybody that they've been in contact with and isolate them so that it doesn't keep spreading. And too many people are infected, it's very difficult to do that level of what's called contact tracing. And then you have to move to the kinds of lockdowns that many cities and areas have had to experience in order to protect people.
How do we build a 21st century public health system that actually can protect Americans? Because what everybody's, I think, awakened to is it happened now, it can happen again.
Right. And we will have another pandemic because it's been very clear for the last 25 years that there's an increasing rate of emerging infections that we've never seen before. This is a function of a lot of changed circumstances around the globe, bigger populations, people living closer to animals than they ever did before, and then infectious agents that people have never been exposed to before leak from animals to humans. No person solo can solve this for themselves, that we need to come together with an agreement to create solutions together. People are doing that right now every single day, being generous in isolating themselves in case they're infected and could spread the disease. They're being generous in terms of wearing masks so that they protect other people in case they're infected and don't know it. But there are other kinds of collective action that we have to take. And the orchestra conductor on that is most effective is a well-resourced expert public health system that can provide the knowledge, that has the public trust and can investigate the spread of infectious disease and can bring to bear the population level solutions to keep people from getting sick in the first place.
I love whenever elites like Dr. Fried disguise their language as loving and caring whenever they're truly just trying to have more control and power over the individuals and individual rights. And just like every other elite swindler, she's in the climate change game as well. In 2013, the Obama administration approached Dr. Fried. She then pitched her ideas on climate change and the impacts on health to the global leaders at the Global Climate Summit in Paris. And of course, her global consortium on climate and health education in 2017 was fully funded by a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation. And of course, she is a part of the World Economic Forum. Here is her profile on their website. Before it was taken down, FTX was also listed as one of their partners on the website. I'm sure it was all a coincidence and convenient timing. From 2006 to 2016, she served as a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council on Aging and currently serves on its Council on Longevity and was the co-chair of WEF's Council on Human Enhancement until 2018. She also received many very prestigious awards in science. Here is the World Economic Forum's Global Population Aging, Peril or Promise that she co-authored. Here you can see in the contents, she did the introduction as well as several chapters. Of course, none other than Klaus Schwab did the preface. And here is her in 2021 discussing with Dr. Tedros, the WHO director, discussing the pandemic and public health.
We need a stronger, sustainably financed and empowered WHO at the center of the global health architecture. WHO has unique expertise, a unique global mandate, unique global reach, and unique global legitimacy. In the coming months and years, other crises will demand our attention and distract us from the urgency of taking action now. If the world continues down the same path, it will continue to get the same result, which is a world that's less healthy, less safe, and less fair. The pandemic has taught us that health is not a luxury, but the foundation of social, economic, and political stability. Health is not a cost to be contained, but an investment to be nurtured. And health is not a privilege, but a fundamental human right. May the next 100 years be even more productive as we work together in solidarity for a healthier, safer, and fairer future for everyone, everywhere.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tedros. And I appreciate the birthday greetings and also recognize that our aligned and dual commitment to the public's health is part of a global architecture that is critical for everyone. I appreciate so much the points you have made, which are critical for the future. And, recognizing, articulating so well that when it comes to health, as you have said before, our destinies are intertwined. And as you pointed out, what we've seen so much in this pandemic is that not only are our destinies intertwined in terms of health, but for example, the pandemic has made clear that health and the economy are inextricable, that the global economic losses continued now due to delayed vaccinations. and may run into the trillions of dollars if low and middle income countries cannot quickly vaccinate their populations. And we are anticipating the long-term economics of the widening inequities that you spoke to might be the principal fault line along which the global economic recovery is diverging. So I so appreciate the points you have made about the critical need to assure that everyone in the world has the access to vaccines. Perhaps also deeply recognize your point about the need to strengthen the moral, political, and legal authority of public health as a public good. The proposals that you've just put forward for strengthening global governance for our intertwined destinies has to be, of course, as you said, foundational to that.
This truly goes to show that it's one big club, and you and I just plain aren't in it. It is very terrifying that these elites feel like they have complete control over our lives as well as everyone's across the world. But as for the FTX scandal, this just goes to show why the mainstream media is running cover for these elites, because there are so many other bigger players. It is not just run by some 30-year-old who wants to play around with his penthouse pals in the Bahamas. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. We'll see you next time.